So I have an interesting article from the NPR that's asked, are we in a constitutional crisis? And this is kind of in response to Elon and DOGE and the overreach with a lot of Trump's executive orders. So let's get into it. And then at the end, you can watch me lose my fucking mind because I pulled up some tweets from Elon, a tweet from Trump, and a tweet from the fucking biggest soy boy incel on the internet, Matt Walsh. And we're going to read them. And it's important that we read these, like Elon Musk and these people, because of the influence they have, Elon Musk especially, and just what they casually say on a hourly basis to their base is, it's terrifying and dangerous, and we'll see at the end. So anyways, the Trump administration has issued more than 50 executive actions since the 47th president returned to office 3 weeks ago. This has opened the door to a flood of legal challenges. There are dozens of cases challenging the White House's actions, and judges all over the country have found that the White House likely acted illegally. Likely. No shit. There are rulings that block the dismantling of U.S. aid, the administration's freeze on federal grants, and more. On immigration, several judges have blocked Trump's order ending birthright citizenship. Man, I completely forgot about that because we're moving at a fucking million miles per hour here. That's crazy. But good that that's blocked for now. On the federal workforce, a judge blocked the offer encouraging government employees to resign. On transgender rights, a judge blocked the Trump administration from moving trans women to federal prisons for men. Yeah, that's crazy. What do you think is going to happen to these trans women that go to a fucking men's prison? I can't get into detail of what I'm thinking, but I'm sure you're thinking the same thing. No matter how you feel about trans people, holy shit, that's dark. As the challenging and the rulings continue to pour in, Trump's team is punching back. After a judge blocked Elon Musk's DOGE team from accessing personal data and other Treasury Department systems, Musk referred to him as a corrupt judge protecting corruption. The projection, man, and called for his impeachment. Vice President J.D. Vance made the controversial claim on Sunday that judges aren't allowed to control the executive legitimate power. On Monday, in an interview with radio host Mark Levin, President Trump criticized judges for wanting to tell everybody how to run the country, adding that judges should be ruling, they shouldn't be dictating. What the fuck do you think they're doing right now? And what you're supposed to be doing, and why is someone saying you're not allowed to? These comments suggest that Trump circle may be willing to ignore court orders and defy judicial authority. That authority is enshrined in Article 3 of the U.S. Constitution. What power does the judicial branch have if the executive branch simply refuses to comply? Is the U.S. facing a constitutional crisis? So, I'll be honest, and I'll admit I am a little bit hypocritical on this situation, because when Joe Biden was blocked on the courts by a lot of things, especially student loan debt relief, I completely was a big supporter of him telling the court to fuck off and try to enforce this, because I truly believe that there are several legal and constitutional ways that Joe Biden can get rid of that debt and have a solid legal case for doing so. But Joe Biden is a coward, and like most Democrats, don't have any backbone to push for what's right. And yeah, so I feel justified in it personally, as I'm sure these people do. But just try to compare what I am fighting for versus what they are fighting for. Okay? So yeah, I'm a little bit of a hypocrite on that, but in this case, what if Joe Biden fucking said that when the courts, blocked his student loan debt? What if he would have said that? What if Kamala would have said that? What if anyone in the Biden administration said that? You guys would have fucking called for his impeachment. You guys would have fucking been going crazy. And now Trump and his circle can just say it casually, and everyone's like, yeah, fuck the courts for doing their jobs. So And the reason why I feel justified in my position when I supported it for that specific case is because what they're doing here is it's it's not constitutional. You can't make a constitutional argument for what they're saying and what Elon Musk and DOGE are doing, these freezes. You can't. It's clear as day in the Constitution. For student loan debt, there's several solid avenues he could have taken there. And that's why I feel like that argument has a lot more merit than this argument. This is just blatant fucking fascism. Checks and balances. Amanda Frost is a law professor at the University of Virginia Law. She says a constitutional crisis occurs when one branch of government, usually the executive, blatantly, flagrantly, and regularly exceeds its constitutional authority, and the other branches are either unable or unwilling to stop it. That is exactly what's going on here. Frost says the first half of her definition is already happening and that it's clear President Trump has gone beyond the powers of the executive branch. She points to him trying to usurp Congress, power of the purse, or trying to put an end to birthright citizenship as examples. So Biden is just trying to give some relief to some people whose crime was to get a fucking education, and these people are just attacking blatant fucking amendments and things in the Constitution. It's crazy. So I'm deeply concerned, as I think every American should be, about the way in which executive power is being abused, misused, and overstepping the bounds of the authority. Frost says, but I will say that as of today, at this moment, the executive branch has not taken the position that it can violate court orders or that it does not need to comply with court orders. So as long as we remain in a system in which the executive follows, or at least states that it has to follow what a court says, I have hope that the system will hold. I don't know how much hope I have, honestly, just based on their rhetoric and what they've already done. It's no longer like, oh, they just say crazy shit. They never do it. No, they say it and they do it. They mean what they say. She says the way our system is intended to work is that each of the three branches maybe pushes at the edge of its powers, and ideally at that point, the other branches should step in and push back. Court order. So what happens if the executive doesn't turn its back on a legitimate court order? Frost says there are a number of mechanisms or tools courts have to enforce their orders. Things like subpoenaing government officials to come and explain themselves if they're not following orders, holding government officials in contempt, or finding individuals. All that said, if at the end of the day, neither political branch nor the people want to see the law enforced, eventually the courts will fail in their efforts to do so. Our system, at the end of the day, relies on the people and elections and the political branches of government to ensure that we remain in a nation governed by law. So yeah, the whole point of the judicial system is they make ruling and laws, and it's the executive branch's duty to enforce them. The DOJ, the judicial branch, does not have an army or federal agents to enforce their laws. They have to rely on the executive branch. And if the executive branch doesn't want to do it, well, we have a problem. And that's happened before. In new territory. On Monday, Judge John McConnell Jr. wrote that the administration defied a temporary restraining order by continuing to improperly freeze federal funds. The Trump administration argues that it acted in good faith to interpret the scope of the restraining order and has appealed the ruling. The response that the Trump administration has given is within the system as we know it. Frost says if they begin blatantly violating court orders and saying they don't have to follow them, then we're in new territory. She says we are not yet in a constitutional crisis yet, but we're undergoing a constitutional stress test. That we are. We have an executive that has usurped the power of Congress and overstepped the boundaries of the office. And the question is, will the courts step up to play their constitutional role in stopping it? And following that, will the executive comply with court orders requiring them to stop taking action? Yeah, so it's a lot of what ifs. And let's see how Elon Musk and Trump and all of them are framing this and how they are presenting this to their base. And I think that's very important. I'm going to try not to lose my fucking mind here because... So, Elon Musk, democracy in America is being destroyed by a judicial coup. An activist judge is not a real judge. Bro, the Supreme Court overturned abortion and has also threatened to overturn the ruling on gay marriage. And where were you? Where were you when they were doing that shit? All right. Where were you when they were blocking Biden's completely legal and constitutional student debt relief plan? Where were you? Where were you? No, you were supporting them. It's crazy, the hypocrisy. This is from Trump. Millions of dollars of fraud, waste, and abuse has already been found in the investigation of our incompetently run government. Now certain activists and highly political judges want to slow us down or stop losing the momentum. Will be very detrimental to finding the truth, which is turning out to be a disaster for those involved in running our government. Much left to find, no excuses. They're not finding truth. They're finding programs that they don't like and framing them as something completely fucking bonkers. All right? That's what they're doing. If they were actually looking for waste, corruption, fraud, abuse, then they would have to target their own self-interest, and they're not going to do that. They're going to target your self-interest, all right? It's that simple. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you anymore. All the information is out in front of you and is a fucking simple Google search away. Even ask your MAGA AI, ChatGPT. Judicially mandated corruption, and Obama judge strikes again, blocks Trump from reining in research spending. He's trying to cut millions and millions of dollars to cancer funding and research. What the fuck are we doing? And judicially mandated corruption. Like, who the fuck? Like, this fucking guy is just going and pillaging our fucking, into every government institution and agency we have, getting unfiltered access to all their systems. And he's the one screaming corruption. We are witnessing an attempted coup of American democracy by radical left activists posing as judges. My brother, these are not radical left fucking judges, okay? Calling them left judges is fucking being generous. They're like fucking center left neoliberal judges, all right? Pay attention to what has happened. This is what he reposted. Pay attention to what has happened over the last days. Several appointed federal judges on their own subjective judgment and using all their power have written pieces of paper that overruled the wishes of 74.2 million Americans who have expressed their blah, blah, blah. So his logic is Trump got the vote of 74 million Americans. That means he can do whatever he wants. That means he can do whatever he wants. He won the popular vote. He can do whatever. It doesn't matter if the courts say no. They're just activists and corrupt and trying to do a coup. What? They are enforcing the fucking law. This is one of the few instances recently where the courts are actually doing the right thing. Where were you a couple years ago when they were fucking attacking Roe v. Wade and overturning that and blocking student debt relief and threatening to go after gay marriage? Where were you? No. This is crazy. Elon Musk is complaining about people trying to coup our government. What? Bravo, we must impeach judges who are grossly undermining the will of the people and destroying America. It's the only way. And they compared this to what judges were doing in El Salvador. What the fuck are you talking about? Give me a solid legal argument for what you're doing. Okay? And we've been over this. Even if you did find real corruption and fraud, you can't do anything about it. You shouldn't even have access to see it. You can't do anything about it. Trump can't do anything about it. He can make recommendations to Congress for their next budget. But once the budget's signed, power of the purse. You can't just fucking freeze shit and cut shit because you don't like it. And it goes against your beliefs and ideals. And they just make shit up. Like the fucking condoms. That didn't even go to Gaza. And it was a part of a much wider effort to prevent HIV in Africa. And Matt Walsh, the internet's favorite incel. Ignore this disgusting freak. Judges don't have the authority to tell the president which websites he has to have up. Judges are completely out of control in this country. They think they have the power to control literally every aspect of the government with the wave of a hand. Where were you the past 4 fucking years, dude? Not saying anything. Now the judges actually do something like that's reasonable and like actually enforcing the law by the words of the Constitution, and you guys are fucking against it. It's crazy. And this was in response to this judge ordering Trump to restore web pages on sex change operations and gender ideology. If you go and read about a lot of the web pages that were taken down, it was a lot more than fucking just sex change operations. There were a lot of STD and STI related treatments that were taken down, and a whole host of other things that doctors relied on were taken down. You're fucking nuts. And then at this point, I am 100% certain that the magnitude of the fraud in the federal entitlements, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, welfare, disability, exceeds the combined sum of every private scam you've ever heard of by far. It's not even close. That's just blatantly false. And like we've been warning you, he's just going to focus on social programs and things that actually materially improve people's lives and actually help people. That's what he's going to go after. What happened to going after the fucking Pentagon a couple of days ago? Nope. Straight to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, welfare, and disability. USAID and the EPA and the Department of Education, they were all just a test run that just see how the American people would react and how our government and institutions would react. And they didn't react. They didn't care. They didn't do anything. Barely anything. So now they're going to go much deeper. And they're going to go after what really matters. And I hope this is what really wakes people up at what their real agenda is. It's not to help you. It's not. It's to cut programs to help you so they can give another big tax break to their billionaire friends. That's all it is. It's that simple. Anyways, let me know in the comment section what you think, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.